Hey everyone, welcome to this video where I will walk you through how to set up Apple shortcuts to track your expenses in Notion. If you are like me, you love using Notion for organizing your life, but sometimes the mobile app can be a bit clunky when you need to quickly add or update information on the go. That's where Apple shortcuts come in. With the sleek interface, Apple shortcuts allows you to easily input your expenses in just a few taps. It's fast, intuitive, and will save you tons of time compared to using the Notion mobile app directly. So let's dive into how you can streamline your expense tracking with just a few simple taps.
So first of all, you will need, of course, a transactions database. We will also use an accounts database and a category database as well. So our transactions database has the following properties. We have the item, we have the date, we have price, we have the transaction type, which can be income or expense. We have accounts relation to the accounts database, and we have a category relation to our category database. What you will also need is, of course, an Apple device if you want to use the Apple shortcuts. Then you need the Shortcuts app installed. You need, of course, a Notion account. And you need to set up the API. And how that works, I will show you now. So you are going to open your Notion settings and you will go here to Connections. Then you scroll down and click on Develop or Manage Integrations. Then you click on New Integration. And you give this integration a name. Let's call it transactions. Then you choose the workspace you want to add it to, and you click on save. So here, this is your internal integration secret. This you will need later. And this you have to keep secret, so no one else should know it. And this you can leave everything as it is and you click save. Okay, now you go back to your Notion databases and you open them as page. Then you click on these three dots here in the upper right corner, choose connect to and search for your integrations. Transactions here, confirm. And the same you do with the two other databases because they all need to be connected to the integration. What we will also need is the database ID of our transactions database, so the database where you want the entries to be made. And this is in our case the transactions database. So again, we open the database as page and then we choose copy link. And then you find some space where you can copy the link. I just do it now below here. What we have to do is we have to edit. So the database ID is everything behind the first slash until the first question mark. Everything else you can delete. So this is your database ID and this is what we will need later. Okay, so now we can head over to our Shortcuts app. We open the Shortcuts app and click on this little plus button here and we call this transactions or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now first we need to enter our secret token, our secret integration token, and therefore we use the text module here. We just drag and drop it here and we go back to where we found our secret token. You can click here on show. As I said before, no one else but you should see this. So you copy it and then you enter it in this text field here. And now we turn this into a variable. So we choose the module set a variable and we call this variable key. So our key variable stores this secret token. Okay, so whenever you want to make your entries from the phone, it's usually an entry that you just, or an expense that you just did, right? So you want to set the date to the current date. So in that case, to today. How do we do this? We search here for the date module and we choose format date. Then we can clear this variable here and we can enter current date. So the date format has to be ISO 8601 because this is the date format that Notion uses. Next, we want to enter what expense or what income did we make. So we want to give it a name, right? So we ask for input. So we call the module ask for input. And then you can choose here whether you want to ask for text, number, website URL, date, time, something. We want to ask for text, so this is correct. And then we can define a prompt here. For example, what item? Then you can also enter a default answer, which doesn't make much sense in our case, so we keep this free. And we allow multiple lines. Okay. So then we also want to enter the price, right? So we again ask for input, but this time we ask for a number. And we ask for price. Here again, we leave empty default number. We allow decimal numbers and we allow negative numbers. An important information here. You have to have the same country settings in your phone as you have in Notion. So for me, I have Notion set up in English, and Notion, in my case, uses the dot as decimals. My phone, however, was set up in German. So I had the comma as a decimal, and it never worked until I found out that only if I entered full numbers, it worked because it didn't recognize the decimal. So make sure that your phone uses the dot as a decimal as well, or that at least both are the same settings, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so now we have the possibility to enter income and expenses, but we need to choose, of course. And how do we do this? We create a list from which we choose. So we look for the module list here. And you can delete the two default entries here. And you can make your own. I will call this now income. And I will call the other one expense. So this is the list we can choose from. But now we also need to actually choose from, so we need the module choose from list. And then you can click here again on show more, and you can enter a prompt if you like. And we enter here what type of transaction. This we keep unchecked because we only choose one. We cannot choose income and expense. It doesn't make sense, so we keep this unchecked here. Okay, so after you chose from your list, the program, the software needs to have it as a variable setup. So we again choose the module set variable, and we set this variable, we give it the name transaction type, to the chosen item. This is correct. Okay, now we need to get the information of the database where we actually want to make our entries to. So therefore, we need again the text module. And here we enter now our database ID. And we set a variable again. And we give it a name and call it transaction database ID. Okay. So now we need to get the information, and therefore we use the get contents of URL module. And this you can delete here. And then you type in here https://api.notion.com/v1/databases/ and then your transaction database ID. Okay, so with this we access the API of Notion. Then you click here, show more, and then you find here method. Here you can choose get, post, put, patch and delete. We need to get information, so we leave it as the default here, get. But we need to make entries here, so you open headers, and then you click this little plus icon here, and you type authorization. No, it's with that, I think. Authorization. And here you type BIRA and then your key, so the variable key that we defined up here. Another one, we need the Notion version. And this is 2022-06-28. And that's it here. You can close this. So next we want to choose the account we paid our expenses from, and therefore we need to access the accounts relation in our transactions database. How do we do this? We choose the module here, get value, get dictionary value. Then we can leave this as it is, get value for. This we have to type in, and we type in here properties, because our relation is a property, dot. And then you need the exact name of how your relations database is called. In our case, we can check its accounts. And you need to have the exact same name, its accounts. Otherwise, you will get an error message. Okay, so we type in here accounts dot relation, because it's a relation, dot database underscore ID in contents of URL. So we can check if this works. This you can do always in between to see if your workflow works. And therefore we just search for show result. And then we can run. So this will not make yet any entries to your database. It just tests if your workflow works. Okay, and this is the ID of our accounts database. So this works. We can delete this again and we continue. So then we set a variable again. And call this accounts underscore database underscore ID to our dictionary value here. So then we want to make an entry, so we want to post, right? So I showed you here already in this module, get contents of URL, we have the possibility to post as well. So we use this exact same module again, the get contents of URL module again. And we delete this and we type in here https://api.notion.com/v1/databases/ and then we need our accounts database ID. And then we have to type /query. Then we click on show more. This time we use the method post because we want to make an entry now. And then here you open headers. And here again you type in authorization. And this is again Bira plus your key. And the Notion version is still 2022-06-28. Okay, so this you can close. And now we are getting the values of this accounts database. So we search for get value, get dictionary value. Get values for results in contents of URL. So let's try if this works. So we check again for show results and run our automation. This is our database ID, and this is the value that we get. So everything works. We can delete this again and also this one before here. Okay, and now we have to do this for every item in our accounts database ID. So we have to create a loop, and therefore we use repeat with each. So we have now a loop created here, a repeat loop for our dictionary value. And in this loop, we insert now get dictionary value. And we want to get the value for the ID in our repeated item. Then we want to set this ID to a variable, or we want to set a variable to this ID. So we need set variable, and this variable we call accounts page ID to our dictionary value. And then we need again get dictionary value, and then we want to get the value for properties dot name dot title dot one dot plain text. So here we get the value for the name, and here we delete this and we assign it to our repeated item here. And then we set again a variable, and we call this variable accounts page title. Okay, so this properties.name.title.one.plain_text, this is defined in the Notion API. This is nothing that I made up. This you can look up in the Notion API, and this is how you call the name of your pages in the database. Okay, so now we want to combine the page ID and the page title, and therefore we call the text module, and we use here quotation marks, then a colon followed by quotation marks, and within these quotation marks we insert now our accounts page title, and in the next one our accounts page ID. Okay, so and with this we end our repeat loop, and we need now the combine text module, and we combine the repeated results with not with new lines but with custom, and we separate them by a comma. Okay, so and then we need again the text module, and here we use the curly brackets, and within these curly brackets we insert our combined text. So let's see if this works. We use again show results, and we run our automation. Okay, so this works perfect. So as long as you don't get an error message here, but you get a message that looks like it works, then everything is fine. So here we have now combined our page title with the page ID for our two entries in accounts. So we have a business account and we have a private account. So it works so far, everything perfect. So now we need to choose from these entries. So we look for the choose from list module, and we choose not from text. We click on here and we change the type to dictionary. And then here under get we choose keys. So then you click here on show more and you can enter again a prompt. So we enter which account. This is our prompt. We leave this unchecked, select multiple, we leave unchecked because we only can pay from one account or we can receive money only to one account. So we leave this unchecked and we close this again. So, and now we need the module get value, and we need to get the value for our chosen item in text. So we have to select this text that shows our combined text. Okay, and now we need to assign a variable to this value. So we need the module set variable again. And we call this related accounts page ID. Okay, so let's see if this works. Okay, so here we can choose now. We choose private. And this is the page ID for the page private in our accounts database. Okay, so now we have set up the accounts relation. So now we can do the exact same procedure for our categories. And this we are going to do now. So if you already know how it works now, you can just skip this next step now when I set up the categories. If you're not quite sure yet, then just follow along with me now. So we are basically doing the same procedures for the accounts relation. So we are getting again the value here. So we need get dictionary value. So we can delete this. So we are getting the value for properties. Now we need the exact name of our relation, which is categories dot relation dot database underscore ID, and then here we need to refer to this one, to our transactions database ID. Okay, so let's quickly check if this works. Okay, so this is the database ID for our categories database. Okay, so this works. Okay, so now we are setting a variable again. So now we are setting a variable again. And we call this categories underscore database underscore ID. Okay, so now we need to call these database entries again. So we can check here. We have 3 entries: groceries, rental, and hobby. And these ones we want to call now. Okay, so we are looking for the module get contents of URL, and we want to get the contents of https://api.notion.com/v1/databases/ then our categories database ID, then / and then again query. Then we have to remember here we use the method post. We open the headers and we type in here again authorization is again Vera, then our key again, and the Notion version is still 2022-06-28. Good, then we need to get the value of the results. So we need to choose the module get value, get dictionary value, And we need to get the value of the results in these contents of URL module. And then again, we need the repeat with each. So within this loop, we now put again the get value module, get dictionary value for the ID in repeated item. Then we set the variable again, and we call this variable categories underscore page underscore ID. Then we need again the get variable, get value we need. Get value for, and then it's again properties dot name dot title dot one dot plain underscore text in our repeated item. Okay, and then we set the variable again. And we set it to categories underscore page underscore title. And then we combine these two in the text module. We type again the quotation marks, colon, quotation marks, and here we enter our categories page title and the categories page ID. And then we end our repeat loop. Okay, then we need again our combine text module. And then we combine our text, our repeated results, with again custom, and here we choose the comma. Then we need again the text module and put our combined text within these curly brackets. Okay, then we choose again, choose from list, and here again we clear this because we don't want text, we want dictionary. And here we choose again keys. Then we click on show more, we ask for which category, and then we get the value for our chosen item. For our chosen item in this text. So I would always recommend you to do a right click and then click on select variable if you have multiple modules with the same name. Otherwise you can get quite confused because you don't see which name refers to which module. Okay, so then we set the variable again. And we set this variable to categories no, sorry. We set this variable to related categories page ID. Okay, so let's see if it works. Okay, so this works. We get to choose here our category. And we get the ID of that page in our categories database. Perfect. So now that we have set up all this, we are going to code a bit. So we need a JSON file for this automation to work. You can also set it up in these modules directly, but I find it much easier to do it in a JSON file. So I will show you how to do this in a JSON file. So we open the JSON application and we create a new document. So we open the JSON application and we create a new document. We choose here dictionary. Let's make this a bit bigger. So then we click on this icon here that divides our screen. Okay, and then we click on these three dots here and click show plain text. So this will show the JSON code. Okay, so then we click on the left side on this plus button and we choose dictionary. We call this parrot and save this. Then we open this. We click here on the plus. We choose text and we call this database underscore ID. Save. Okay. So now we are creating our properties. We click on the plus, choose dictionary, and our first property is the item. So we call it item. Make sure that you name these properties the same way you named them in your database. So we don't have name in our database, but we have item. So we save this. We double click here, click on the plus button. Then we choose array and we call it title. Save. Double click again, plus button, dictionary. So now you don't have to enter anything. This will be automatically done. Click save and it gets the name index 0. Click here again, plus button, and then dictionary, and you call this text. Save this. You click here again, plus button, text, you choose now, and you call it content. Save. Okay. No, that's not fine. So now we want to enter our properties. So you click here again, choose dictionary and call it properties. Save. Double click, plus, choose dictionary and call it item. Make sure that you call all your properties the same way as you call them in your database. Otherwise you will get an error message and it will not work. So we have called our name property item. Save. Double click, plus button, choose an array and call it title. Save. Double click, plus dictionary. Now you don't have to enter a name. This will be automatically called index 1. Double click, plus dictionary and you call it text. Save. Double click, plus you choose text and you call it content. Okay. So we enter our next property, which is the date. We choose again dictionary, call it date. Save. double click, plus icon, again dictionary and date. Save. Double click here, plus text and start. And that's all. So our next property is amount, or not amount really, but we called it price, so it will be price. So which is again a dictionary, we call it price. Save. Double click, plus, and now we enter a number, we call it number, and here you have to enter a number, otherwise you cannot save it. We will replace this number later, but you have to enter one now. So I enter just 0. Okay, so our third property is type. So you click again on the plus button, dictionary, call it type, save. Double click, plus, again dictionary and select, save. Double click, plus, text, and you call it name. Okay, you go back to properties. The next one is accounts, which is again a dictionary, call it accounts, save. Double click, plus, array. This array is called relation, save. Double click, plus, item, dictionary again, which is index 0. Double click, plus item, and text, which is ID. Save. And now our categories, which is also a dictionary, it's called categories. Save. Double click, plus, array, which is again called relation. Save. Double click, plus, dictionary, save, double click, plus, and now ID, which is the text. Okay, so now we have our JSON code here. We copy this, go back to our Shortcuts app, and now we insert a text module. And here we enter our code. So now you see that there are many quotation marks that don't have anything inside. So we will define this now. So here, database ID, we need our transactions database ID. Then here, our item, we make right click, insert variable, select variable, and then we choose this provided input, the input that we provide after we have been asked for what item. So then we enter the date, also here right click, select variable, and then we input the formatted date. Okay, then here, price, you see it's not in quotation marks. This is not necessary here. We delete the 0. Right click, insert variable, select, and then we choose this provided input here. Then the type, we again select variable and choose chosen item here. Then we need here for our accounts the related accounts page ID, and for our categories the related category page ID. Okay, and now we need to tell the shortcut that it should use this JSON file to post, and this we do with get contents of URL. We clear this text here and we type in https:// api.notion.com/v1/pages. So then we click on show more here, change the method to post, open the headers and enter again our authorization. The Notion version we need again. Which is 2022-06-28. And now we need also the content type, which is application/JSON. And then you see here request body. This we usually keep as JSON. Now we change it to file. And then you will be asked which file, and we choose here this text where we entered our JSON code. Okay, and now it should work. So let's try. Okay, so we didn't get an error message, so let's check our databases if it worked. Yes, you see here, you have the test entry, the date is today, price is 0, we choose expense, count is private, category is hobby. You see here, you also have the relation setup. So this is how you can easily enter your expenses with Notion shortcuts. So now we did it on the laptop. But you can also, of course, do it from your phone. You just have to copy this shortcut to your phone and then you are good to go. So I hope everything works. If you have some problems, let me know in the comments, or if you have questions or suggestions, anything else, let me know in the comments. And please don't forget to give this a like if this was helpful for you, and maybe also a follow. That would make me very happy. So see you in the next tutorial.